Thank you, Sarah, for inviting me to be a part of this, and for everyone that has made time in their schedule to join us today. So we're going to do our mindfulness meditation session. The intention of this series is to give you the tools and practice to protect yourself from stress, be more present, activate the relaxation response, and regulate your emotions with mindfulness meditation. Feel free to type any questions you have in the chat, and we will try to get those answered for you. So the difference, just a quick reminder, the difference between mindfulness and meditation, which sometimes are used interchangeably. Mindfulness is more of a quality of mind or the mental state. So you can do things mindfully. And meditation is the practice that helps us be more mindful. Jon Kabat-Zinn defines, he was kind of the pioneer that brought mindfulness to the West, the mindfulness as the awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. And of course, the non-judgmentally part is always the part that is key, because that's where we tend to get into a little bit of trouble. Oh yes, Sarah says that we'll be doing a drawing at the end, so make sure to stick around for that. We don't have to do meditation to be mindful, but for the purpose of this series, we're doing our meditation practices that bring about a quality of mindfulness. When we practice mindfulness, we're being aware of our current thoughts, feelings, and surroundings, and accepting this awareness with openness and curiosity in a non-judgmental way. And when we meditate, we're sharpening those skills. So with continued practice, we become less stressed, reactive, fearful, and anxious. If you've ever tried to meditate before and felt like you couldn't do it because you couldn't stop your thoughts, then you're in the right place. That's the human condition. That's where all of the practice begins. But each time we catch ourselves kind of drifting or thinking of something else and snap it back into place, that is the skill that we're looking for. So that's the goal of our practice, and you're strengthening your mindfulness muscle each time you do that, so that when you are out in the world and something stressful happens, that kind of kicks into play automatically. And all the things that you have worked on outside of just everyday life, those skills come into play and they kind of just kick in automatically. That's kind of what we're working for, is creating these new pathways, neural pathways that help us respond differently in stressful situations. So each session, we do a little check-in, breathing, some mindful movement, to release tension from the body. And we're going to be focusing on the body more today. And then a little bit of background philosophy. Of course, the benefits and are really, they've done lots of studies on the benefits of mindfulness and meditation, and they're pretty big. So less stress, reactivity, negativity, depression, anxiety, illness and pain, as well as psychological distress, and an increase in emotional regulation, which is not only important for adults, but for children as well. Attention, especially in this distracted world that we live in, empathy and compassion for others, our own productivity, connection, resilience, and wellness. So let's begin by just doing a 2-word check-in of how you are today, what we're working with today, what's showing up today. Remember that in this community, our connection with each other is crucial, because that's how we tend to do better and heal and grow, is in community with others. So that connection is important. So if you can pinpoint what's going on, then that will also help you see how the mindfulness meditation is helping you regulate your system. So I could say that for me today, I am feeling a little tired and also grateful. Grief and loved, content and humbled. Excellent. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Yes. Stressed, but connected. Mm-hmm. Grateful and connected. Oh, I love to see the connected part because that's so important. And I mean, yoga, the word yoga means to connect. So that comes from the word yuj, which is like yoke. And that is like the yoke around the neck of an ox. Sounds kind of strange, but that connection, that is what's important in yoga. So we're not only connecting with other people, but we are connecting our mind, body, and spirit and connecting to something greater than ourselves. That's kind of the ultimate. Kelly is feeling overwhelmed and stressed. Well, you are definitely in the right place. Okay, so now I want you to pay attention to where you feel this in your body. How does it show up for you? For me, when I feel tired, I get headache and my whole body feels just a little less active, a little more run down. But the gratitude keeps my heart feeling pretty warm and fuzzy. So if you can kind of look over the list and see maybe what's going on. And if you need a second to just close your eyes and check in and notice where you're feeling it, sometimes that can be helpful. So when you say, Mona, you say relaxed, is there a certain body part that feels relaxed, or is it like overall? Stiffness in the back and neck. Mm-hmm. So one of the reasons why I like to bring this up is because a lot of times we start to feel those chronic or persistent issues, and then we go to our doctor and we say, hey, I'm having chronic neck tension or chronic jaw pain or TMJ or back pain. And they're looking for all these physical problems that are wrong with us. And there may be some physical issues with like alignment being off or muscles being tight. But the reason why that is happening most of the time, unless there is injury or a tumor or an infection, is because of our body's physiological response to what's going on emotionally. So it's important to have that connection, that understanding. Okay, so let's start with our belly breathing. You can just sit up in your chair, or if you're on the floor, root your sit bones and straighten your spine. When we have our spine straight, we have more oxygen flow going to the brain. And then just soften your belly, close your eyes, soften the muscles around the eyes. You can put one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly. So this is a great way to reset the nervous system and just allow us to move into the rest and digest mode. And you don't just have to use this, when we're practicing mindfulness meditation. You can return to this breath anytime during the day when you're feeling stressed. So take those little breaks and show the body how to relax. So we're just going to expand the belly with the breath, just like you're blowing up a balloon. You're going to blow air or breathe in air to your belly and allow your belly to expand. And then as you exhale, just allow the belly to empty out all of the air, every last little drop. Notice how your mind feels when you do this. Sometimes you might feel a little bit lightheaded, and that's just because your brain is getting more oxygen. It's actually happy to have that oxygen, but sometimes it doesn't feel, it's different feeling than what we're used to. And then extend the exhale. So if you breathe in for 4 to 6 counts, see if you can exhale for 6 to 8 counts. Notice if you're carrying tension in the jaw, and release that as well. And then we'll start to do some gentle stretches. So we're just going to begin by looking over the shoulders here. Notice where you feel the tension. Drop the shoulders down, looking side to side. You can use the breath with the movement. And then we're going to add the whole body into this. So you're going to just gently twist, not just the head, but the upper body, keeping the sit bones rooted into the chair or the floor. Shoulders drop away from the ears. Soften the belly, soften the muscles in the upper back. And then just gently kind of move I'm looking over my right shoulder, so I'm going to move my left foot and knee up a little bit, and that's going to allow me to twist a little bit further. And then we'll go to the other side. So begin by just starting where you are. Notice where the tension is. Soften your belly, and then adjust your opposite foot and knee forward so that you can twist a little bit more. Bring your hands together, clasp them together, turn the palms out. Inhale and bring your arms up. So when you do that, if your shoulders or your chest is tight, it may not be easy to line up your elbows with your ears, but that's kind of the goal here. But if you can't do that, just bring your hands right here, right in line with the shoulders, and then you can inhale them up and exhale them down. Or you can just keep them up and breathe. It's up to you. Do what feels good. And then bring your hands that are clasped behind your head. Bring your elbows forward, and then just drop your elbows. We're leading with the elbows. So we're not pulling the head forward. It's more just a drop. And chin goes into your chest, and you should feel a release in the back of the neck. We're just going to hold here for a couple of breaths, because that will allow the neck to release a little bit more. And then back up, elbows out, reach back, gentle back bend. And then exhale, come forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Good. And let's stretch our wrists, especially if you've been at the computer for a while. You can stretch it either way, here, here. Don't go to owl. We never go to owl. And then we're just going to drape our body over our knees. So let your head hang down between your knees. You can kind of just let your hands dangle towards the floor or on the floor, and allow your whole back, especially the lower back, to just release tension. And then exhale, see if you can come down a little bit further. And then slowly come back up. Good. And then cross your left ankle over your right knee. Push your left knee away from the body a little bit. Straighten up through the spine, and then hinge forward. So you should feel this in the hip and the piriformis, which is that glute muscle. Sometimes we feel it gets pretty tight and it pinches on the sciatic nerve. Flex your foot on top of your knee. Then from there, we're going to twist. So we're going to take our left hand onto our left foot and then bring the right arm up. Gentle twist. It can be challenging to work with thoughts and concentration when the body is feeling tense or tight. So that's why we always do our stretching before our meditation. And then we'll go the other side. That way we're not as distracted by physical sensations. So I've got my right ankle over my left knee. Right knee is pushing down towards the floor or the chair. And then hinging forward. And you'll have to find the sweet spot for you. For everyone, it's different. And even for each of us, it's different times of the day, different days of the week, different years, depending on what's going on. And then we'll twist right hand on the bottom of the right foot. Left arm up, twist to the side. And then back to center. Good. And then just kind of do any other little stretches that you feel like your body needs. And then let's talk about our posture. During our practice, we want our back straight like an arrow. Legs can be crossed if we're sitting on the floor, or feet flat if you're sitting on your chair. Shoulders are open, so we're not closing off here, opening up the shoulders, relaxing them down the back. Chin tucked in just slightly. Eyes closed or kind of gazing down at the ground in front of you. Your tongue can be held against the upper palate, subtle kind of holding there. We don't want to force our tongue into the upper palate because that's more of a stress, tense response. And then lips slightly parted, teeth unclenched. Stable as a mountain, but our breath is fluid and flowing like a river. As we go into our next mindfulness practice, I'd like to talk about another foundational element of mindfulness called beginner's mind. So beginner's mind lets us know that we often let our thinking and our beliefs about what we know to be true prevent us from seeing things as they really are. We tend to take the ordinary for granted and fail to see the richness in each moment. So we need to cultivate what is called a beginner's mind. And this is a mind that is willing to see everything as if it's for the very first time. So one thing we can count on is change. We aren't the same person now as when we were children, or as we were 10 years ago, or even 6 months ago. But we have this tendency to treat reality as if it is fixed and permanent. And we do that with other people as well. We judge ourselves and others based on what we think we know about our past. This man is always angry, or this woman is always happy. But reality is very different from that because we're always changing. And recognizing this can bring a sense of calm and peace to each situation, that nothing is permanent. I even have these thoughts sometimes whenever I get worried about what the future may bring or what's happening right now. I always think anything could happen at any time, for good or for bad. You know, things are constantly in flux. And so we have this kind of fixation and attachment to the present is how it's going to be all the time. And even though we know from experience how often things change. So just remembering that, oh, this too could change. This person could change. Nothing is permanent, can actually bring a sense of peace and calm to situations. We're going to start with a mindful body scan. So in yoga, we say that we carry our issues in our tissues, meaning that the emotional response is physiological. It occurs in the body. So the best way to create awareness of emotions is by applying mindfulness to the body. And every time you bring mindfulness to the body, you create conditions for neurological changes that allow you to become more perceptive and aware of your own emotional well-being. So we have to have that awareness of what's going on in order to be able to see the differences and to be able to kind of tune in to the emotional responses and how they're showing up. In a mindful body scan, we systematically bring moment to moment, non-judging attention to different parts of the body. The focus is just the attention, not the sensation. So it's not like a progressive relaxation where you would squeeze and release to show the difference between tension and relaxation. This focus is just on the attention of the felt sense of that part of the body. We're not going to get attached to the outcome here. We're not going to be telling ourselves a big story about an area of our body, no matter what the sensation is that we feel there. It's just to notice and observe. So we're going to start by bringing just a gentle attention to the breath. Find your posture. Begin to bring attention to the nostrils. Notice the breath as it enters the nostrils and leaves the nostrils. Now move our attention to our belly. Noticing the belly rise and fall with each breath. And then become aware of the entire body as if the entire body is breathing in into every space in the body, and then exhale, emptying breath out of every space in the body. And just feeling that expansion and contraction. Just notice any sensations and bring your awareness to the space in between the breaths. And bring your awareness to the top of your head. Noticing any sensations there. Does it feel tight? Do you feel any coolness or heat? Does it feel tingly? And bring your awareness to your ears. And then the back of your head. Notice the sometimes desire to attach a story to a sensation that you might feel. Move your attention to your face, your forehead, your eyes, cheeks, nose, mouth, the inside of your mouth, even your gums, your tongue, your throat. Just mindfully scanning each part, looking for sensations, being the observer of those sensations. Bring your attention to your chest, your shoulders, your upper back, notice and be curious of what comes up, having that beginner's mind, as if this is the first time that you've noticed the sensations here, so you can have a new experience, a new perspective about what's happening. Now the mid back and the lower back. The back bears the brunt of a lot of our stress, a lot of our tension. Let's just give our backs the kind of loving attention that it deserves. Breathe into the space. Rest your attention on your chest and your stomach, and all the internal organs within. Maybe even spending just a moment in gratitude for all that your body does for you. And bring your attention to your hips, your lower back, your pelvis, your sit bones. Just observe, notice what comes up. Non-judgmentally. And then shift your awareness to your legs, the quads, the hamstrings, the knees, the calves, the ankles, the feet, the toes, the bottoms of the feet. And the arms, shoulders, wrist, palm of the hand, back of the hand, fingertips. Just observe, notice any sensations. Be curious about what comes up. And then just bring your attention to your entire body all at once. And then you can open your eyes. Did anyone have any perspectives or anything come up about feelings or emotions in the body, tension that you experience, or any kind of sensations that popped up that you have more clarity on, or an understanding, or just more mindfulness around of where you're holding, where you're tense, where you're feeling that stress in the body? Those are important things to note because that's how we change, that's how we modify, that's how we start to release the tension and the tightness in those areas that are related to stress. Okay, good. Sharada, feel more calm. Yeah, it's super easy to do these kind of body scans of just taking it through each part of the body, bringing awareness to it, noticing what's coming up, and allowing yourself to release any tension in those spots. It can be done very quickly and easily just on your own. You don't have to be guided, but it's always nice to be guided. Okay, so now we're going to meditate on a positive experience so that we can see how our body, how it shows up in our body whenever we think about something that is positive. Okay, so close your eyes and assume your meditation posture. I just want you to bring to your mind a memory of a happy, really joyful event that you've experienced. It could be recent or long ago. Whatever comes into your mind, just go with that. You don't have to overthink this. And then I just want you to recall every detail you can about the event. Notice who was there, what you're seeing, who was there, what they were wearing, what you were wearing, what you saw, who you heard, or any sounds around you. A full sensory experience. Any smells or tastes. Really put yourself back in that experience and that memory, and just bring it all back up into your consciousness. It may even bring a smile to your face, make you feel kind of warm and fuzzy inside, make your heart feel happy, may make you giggle. And bring your attention to your body and notice how you feel it and where you feel it. Where do you feel that joy and that happiness, that peace? And are there any sensations you notice when thinking about this event? Is there a quality to this feeling and emotion? Like, does it feel buzzy or fuzzy or warm, tingly? Do you feel expansive? Is there a temperature that goes with it? Or a certain area of the body that you really feel it? And can you name the emotion that's attached to that feeling in your body? Just sit with this experience, this positive emotion and feeling. Now we'll just return to the present moment. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then I'm just curious, was that feel like an easy kind of meditation to do? Is there anything that you noticed specifically? Any place specifically that you noticed it? I saw that Charity mentioned that she had the thought that she hunches her shoulders to protect her heart. And that's a very common way to protect ourselves, right? But there's that tension there. So having those realizations gives us clarity as to what's going on physiologically. I work with those dealing with substance abuse, and they are at a heightened state of physiological trauma and depression and anxiety, stress. And I always remind them, and I want to remind you too, although it may not be as heightened as theirs is and as emergency like as it is for them, but no one else can change this for you. You know, if you're having that kind of tension and tightness and chronic sensation, pain, persistent pain, these stress responses, no matter, you know, you can try different things to distract you from it. You can take medications that may work for a little while and may help you a little bit to ease some of the symptoms. But the only way to heal from this is for you to have awareness of what the problem or what the issue is, and then work to retrain these pathways neurologically. So that's where mindfulness and meditation come in, because that is the work. That's how we retrain and reprocess what's going on, how we react to it, how we can choose differently, the space we can bring around it so that we don't continue the patterns of behavior. And these patterns may have served us well at some point in our life, but then it comes to a point where they stop serving us. So this is the practice, and it's, again, easier. It's easy to do, but it's just, it takes time and effort, and only we can do it. We can't rely on someone else to do it for us. All right. So let's just take a little moment to check in where you are now that you've meditated and done some mindfulness. See how you're feeling now. And just some reminders that the more you practice, the more you'll be able to access the calm in all situations, and make a habit of it, part of your routine. Plan for it, schedule it, set the tone, and keep it simple. It does not have to be super involved. It's the consistency that matters. 2 minutes of meditation each morning can provide more for you than, you know, a 30-minute sit at the end of the night once a month. So remember to carve it out throughout your day. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. And thank y'all so much for joining me today.